What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy JFK. We're back on here, man. It's been a minute. How far now, my people? What's going on? Talk to me. As usual, if you are here, let me know you are here. You want to talk to me? Let's chat. How have you been? My people in New York City, they did a partial opening. Was it partial for you or was it complete opening for you? Let me know what you're up to. Some of us are struggling now because now that they're opening up, some of us don't know how to get back. I don't know how to go to regular work again, man. I don't know. It's going to be hard, but I'm going to try. It's your boy, JFK. We're back on JFK Live. Ladies and gentlemen, we're on Facebook Live, and we are simulcasting on YouTube as well. Like I told y'all last week, man, it's a work in progress. By the time, we get into YouTube fully, I know that everybody's going to be up to speed on what we're doing, what the show is about, and hopefully we've gotten better in terms of presenting and in terms of producing. So, like I told y'all, man, we're just having a good time. So once again, you're welcome. It's your boy, JFK. Let me know if you're on. And I'm very excited today because, we're going to have a conversation about something that's been on my mind. And I have a special guest to talk about it also with me. And I wanted to, get your mind on this issue because I know we've been dealing with people who, are coming out of here and defending some stuff. You see, that's the thing that's getting to me. Like, it's one thing to deal with the racist. It's one thing to deal with the rapist. It's one thing to be protesting. It's another thing to be hearing voices of some people talking about what's the big deal. Or there was a survey that came out that talked about at least 70-something% of Americans believe that there's a race problem. They said 70-something% believe there's a race problem, there's discrimination, there's systemic racism. And then my question is, who are the other 15% or 25% that don't believe it? Who are these 25% that do not understand that there's a race problem in America? Where do they live? And it gets me thinking. It's either that, these are people who they know there's a systemic racism, but because it has not affected them personally, they don't care. And when we talk about it, they make it look like, what racism? What systemic racism? And you're like, are you blind? It's one thing for you to say it doesn't affect you. It's another thing for you to deny the very existence of racism. And I feel that that's one of the things that has been broken wide open with this video. Unfortunately, this video has shown, they're protesting in Australia. Bro, they are protesting in Germany. Yo, Germany is out here upset at the discrimination against black people. They are protesting in Hungary. They're protesting in Australia. Everybody is up in arms. Like, even in China, Tokyo. Let me tell you something that's crazy. Oppressive regimes are protesting. Countries where they are being oppressed every day, they are on the street protesting. Their own police are beating them, but they are protesting about the beating that the police are giving to black men in America. That's when you know you have a problem, bro. That's when you know you have a problem. When oppressive countries are shouting and saying, this is too much. Why are you beating them? And the worst part is, you see the videos in the police department. I don't know who's making all these decisions. That's why I say we need to vote. We need to vote often. We need to change DAs, change chiefs of police, change governors, change mayors, change the dog catcher, change the guy that takes your dustbin, change everything, because it has an impact on how these things are dealt with. We are protesting police brutality, and the response of the police is to brutalize us. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's police brutality, and they are brutalizing us. Like, bro, I'm trying to tell you not to hit me, and you're hitting me to tell me to stop telling you not to hit me. How is that ever going to work? And that's why, on the one hand, it's like, I'm glad that we're seeing some of the reforms we're seeing. On the other hand, it's amazing to see how committed some people are to their prejudice. That's what's going on. Some of the racists, they love their racism. They can't let go of the racism. It's too sweet. And therefore, anybody that tells them to stop being racist is an enemy. That's where we are. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's one of those things. And I wanted to come up and talk about all these people that come up on I don't want to mention too many names, but some of the prominent ones. Their job is to come and tell you that the problem you are protesting doesn't exist. Their whole life thing is to come and tell you that what you are fighting is not a big deal. They come out to tell you that, oh, it's not that serious. And then they want to make you think about the fact that your fight itself is too radical. Your fight is too violent. And these are the ones that I want to talk about today. The enablers. These are people who don't see any problem in the system. These are people who want to support the oppressors. These are people who attack you when you speak up. These are people who want to look at the protests and they're deliberate. They don't want to separate the rioters from the protesters. It's deliberate, because then if they can lump you together, then they can discredit your protest. Unfortunately for them, this time around, the issue is bigger than them. Glory, hallelujah. Somebody shout amen. Somebody praise the Lord. This is bigger than them now, because their desire is that when they say your protests are violent, you are rioting, you are looting, maybe they will stop the protests. But they are shocked to find out that the more they attack the protest grows. Glory. And then you have the protest elsewhere. It's spreading like wildfire. Bros, let me tell you something. Even the fact that they have arrested the guys, they have charged the guys, did not stop the protest. They got police departments in Minnesota. They're about to abolish the police. If you had said that some years ago, they would have said you're out of your mind. The police is about to be abolished, bro. I'm afraid. It's going to be going to council police. Guy, it's not easy. But that's because they've done it. Things are so bad. These are so bad. You know, let me calm down. Let me calm down. We're talking about it. Say what's up to my people. If you're here, let me know. Drop a comment. We got Harry Manny's in the building. My boy's over here working, getting his own show ready. Tunde Obembe, you're the man. Love it, man. You're on here like King, like King Kong. You're right. Please, everybody else who's on here, let me know. I know my people are going to be joining in, left and right. Please help me share this right now. Let's bring more people into conversation. You know how it is. I always like, have my people in here, and it's a conversation. It's a conversation, and I need y'all to be here. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna do it. And just a quick housekeeping situation. Like I said, we're gonna be trying to build a YouTube channel. So at some point very soon, we'll be having this entire show on YouTube exclusively. I know it's gonna be rough, but I want my people to go with me, because that's where we can really do big things, So we're gonna be doing that. In the meantime, I want y'all to keep sharing the video, keep sharing the live, and talk to me. This is about you, it's about me. So let me ask you this question tonight. What do you think about people whose job who've taken up the job of enabling the things we are protesting, enabling violence, enabling rape, enabling brutalization, enabling the discrimination? You go online and you see a thread, and somebody's telling you, oh, you guys are Black Lives Matter. What about the lives of squirrels? What about the lives of rabbits? What about the lives of cockroaches? Who's going to speak up for cockroaches? Because their lives matter too. You know what I'm saying? There's always somebody in that realm. And one of the most disturbing things I've seen, which is going to connect to what I'm bringing my guest on, is when I could not believe my eyes when I looked online and I saw people literally, some people in Nigeria, literally talking about, their rape. But what are these women also doing to attract these men? What are these women doing to entice the men and seducing the men? And, where are they going at night? And I'm like, bro, don't rape women. Don't rape nobody. That's the conversation. Don't do it. Don't violate people. Why are we getting into what they are wearing? And I said it on my last show. If a woman has, the desire to be stark naked in your presence, my guy, read Psalm 23 and run. Like, what are you talking about? That has nothing to do with you. If she's not clothed, your brain understands that is nothing to do with you. If you have personal issues, like I said, if you have personal issues, pray to your God. Find a therapist. Do something. Eat suya. Just, change the subject. But you have no right to violate another person. And on this one, I'm going to bring my guest in. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just say this now. This is somebody I've been trying to get on. You guys know from last week. She's from Nigeria. I can't believe she waited up this late to be part of the show. She's a barrister. And she came on because I was looking for someone to talk to who had more information about what's going on in Nigeria with the rape issue and how it's being handled legally, politically. And if you go on her page, after we're done with this, I'm going to be sharing everything she's been doing. She's an activist. She's a gender rights activist. She's advocate is a better word. And she's an attorney. And I wanted to tell you something. When she comes on, we'll talk about it. Please help me welcome Barrister Mojirayo OGUNLANA-NKANGA. All right. Barrister, let me bring you on.
Hi.
Yes,
Hi.
yes. Yeah, Stacey Chineme Esima is here. My sister. Now, it's true now. If a woman is naked in front of you, eat suya. Buy Chapman. I will know account you violator. So,
take lemonade.
Thank you so much for being on. It's good to have you, man, all the way from Abuja, Nigeria. First of all, I'm glad that you're able to make it tonight. So just tell the people one or two things about yourself, and let's get into some of the work you've been doing in this fight against rape and violating women.
Okay. Okay, as you said, my name is Mojirayo OGUNLANA-NKANGA. I've been a legal practitioner for more than 9 years, and all the while, my cases are basically on human rights, and I deal specifically with gender rights, women's rights, and children's rights, and also press freedom. And so, on the gender aspect, which of course is the one that has been trending lately.
Yes.
I can put it as trending. It's an upsurge for a reason I can't really tell you, but I know that one of the enabling, should I say, enabling factors will be the COVID-19, because we realized that based on the lockdown, a lot of sexual violence were really taking on and coming on in Nigeria.
Wow.
And so someone like me and some of the ladies I work with, we are always at the forefront trying to get the government and getting the law enforcement agents to do their work, to get this off. This is crazy because it's on the rise. Can I say it's on the rise, or should I say
we are
that
finding out more.
our maybe our sensitization, our raising awareness is now paying off, because now a lot of people are talking. Initially, people don't talk, women don't talk because of the stigma, because of a lot of issues, and they don't come up to tell you that this is what I've gone through. You see situations where people are settling rape cases, at the police station. They will be encouraged to go and settle this matter so that it doesn't become public, it doesn't become a shameful situation for them. And then you see them succumbing to this kind of advice in quotes, and then you see them they just back out and they just take their losses. And you see this person going through that mental psychological pressure, or should I say trauma, all the days, and nobody knows anything. You see them acting out, you cannot really tell why they are acting out, but because you have been you've not given them closure. You've told them that their abuser can walk on the same streets with them. You've told them that the abuser can still be their neighbor, in some cases neighbors, in some cases cousins, in some cases a 2-year-old was raped by her father. And the first week of the lockdown in Nigeria, the 4-year-old was raped by her father.
Wow.
And yes, it's a common occurrence. A 6-month-old in Kaduna raped. And then the ones that really brought up major issues were the ones of the young girl reading in the church. And then all of a sudden they found a dead body. She had been raped and killed and murdered with a fire extinguisher. And then apart from that, just a week after our incident, another lady in the university, in the Polytechnic in Ibadan, Barakat, was also raped and killed. Now, just on the 7th of June, we have a case where someone was raped and left under the car just beside a house. And it's going on like this. It's crazy. It's going on. 16-year-old, 20-year-old, and then imagine to know that this thing it's great. It's a situation that it's unimaginable enough. You now hear of 70-year-old also being raped. You hear of 85-year-old also being raped, and they'll tell you that I was in my room. An elderly woman, 70-year-old, said she was sleeping in her room. Then she saw that somebody covering her mouth and then raped her.
Wow.
And after raping her, left her room. And that kind of situation is not a stranger. It's somebody that knows this elderly woman and has taken advantage of her vulnerability. And so that is what women in Nigeria and girls have been going through.
Let me ask you a
advantage. Yes.
Let me ask you a question. Now you've been talking about all these cases, and obviously one of the things we are trying to figure out is why is it that people feel like they can get away with this kind of stuff, because there's an enabling environment.
Exactly.
And and I was connecting that to what we're dealing with here too.
Exactly.
Because when you have people who talk about, when you raise these issues, there are people that will push back and say it's not a big deal. Like I said, one of the things that really prompted me, I said I had to talk to you, was when I see people who ask that question, what was she wearing? And then when I saw that video on your page where you have the age range or the age ranges of the people that are being violated, the women that are being violated. You're talking about a 2-year-old and you're talking about an
Yes.
80-year-old. So we are way
Yes.
past the discussion of what the victim did or what they were wearing. So we are talking about
Exactly.
demented people doing demented things, and how do we stop them without some other people telling us, oh, we are making too much of a big deal about it.
Yes. And the thing is that I was going to go to the enabling environment. Now, you allow, for instance, you allow someone who had defiled a child, raped another person, to settle. That is communicating that the woman has no value and that the girl has no value in essence. You have said it's just like you've how will I put it? You say it's more like it's okay, so long as we're just keeping it quiet. And then you have people who come on Twitter and they're like, oh, what these women wear, it's terrible. You see, they wear mini skirts and then they wear all this. And in fact, under Nigerian law, what the law says, which is the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, it hasn't been domesticated by every state, especially the northern states. But that law says that you can only be charged for indecent dressing if your private part is exposed.
Wow.
Meaning that you can wear your miniskirt, you are not offending anybody.
So
but if your private part is exposed, then that becomes an issue for the society, of course, because of the society itself. Now, I have somebody who we had fought for his rights as a journalist, and that person goes on Twitter and goes on rampage. Now, picking up pictures of women on Twitter and saying, oh, who will marry you? You see why they always say that women are being raped? You see, what kind of thing are you wearing? And then he keeps, trolling these ladies, different ladies, and trolling them and saying all these things against them. Now, he's more like telling the rapists, oh, you can go ahead and do what you have to do, since they are the ones that are exposing themselves. And so he's not the only one that has this mindset. There are a lot of people that have this mindset. A lot. In fact, I can't put statistics to it, but I know that a lot of men have this.
Let me bring that up also. Just a shout out to everybody still on here. Yes, Harry. Just some comments. Yeah, Harry. People need to act normal. This is the thing that is frustrating. That I will believe that as a society, there's no argument. There shouldn't be any argument on some of these things that we are discussing. Like, you shouldn't violate people, you shouldn't assault people, you shouldn't beat people, you shouldn't. It's like, to now have a conversation at the basic level of why shouldn't you? Then it makes me question that person's humanity. And like you said, if someone is saying, okay, oh, it's what you are wearing, there's a communication that's being sent to the person committing the atrocity. It's telling them that you have a license, like you are justified. I don't blame you. It's true. If she didn't dress like that, then you wouldn't have to do what you did, which is the most insane and the most just unthinkable thing you can imagine. Because we should have the same voice. We should have the same voice telling people, like, Mr. A has no right to violate, assault, or hit or do anything to Mr. B or Miss B. And that should be the fundamental base of our society. We should organize a society like that. So I mean, like, what the other thing you were talking about earlier, and I wanted to get into. Thank God for the protests and the movements, and I like to parallel some of the things that are happening here in America right now. The laws are changing. Things are happening legislatively. I was talking at the introduction about Minnesota. Bro, they are trying to eradicate the police force. That's such a radical move. Like, you never have been able to say that.
Incredible.
It's the pressure. It's the pressure, because when you have this kind of outpour, I put it on Facebook earlier. I said, now personally, I don't fully subscribe to banning the police. I don't fully, so because I like, one of the things that I like is that whenever you say something like that, and my question to you is, what is the alternative you have planned? So you're not going to eradicate law enforcement in your environment. Protesting the police is possible because the police exist. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's why I was talking on a video about black on black crime. I can't protest the criminal. I cannot. The criminal is the criminal because, until he commits his crime and is arrested, I don't know who he is. And we can't preemptively tell him not to commit crimes before he commits them. But the police, the authorities, the courts, the politicians, these are the people we can talk to. These are the positions and offices we can affect. So I'm personally, I don't subscribe to banning or eradicating the police, but I love the idea that we're having that conversation so that even the people in law enforcement can realize that if they overstep a certain point, their entire industry can disappear. I love that concept because it makes people who feel like they're unstoppable, it makes them begin to shake. And like you said, there are a few changes happening also in Nigeria, legislatively, politically. So I want to give you the floor to tell us a few things about that. So what are, with all the fighting going on, what are some of the changes?
Okay, so a lot of times we go out there. For instance, I am also the public relations officer for International Federation of Women Lawyers. It's an organization that really advocates for the welfare of women and children. And it's a body of lawyers, and basically we represent indigent women and children, you know. And what we've been doing over the years is to always do advocacy and make release press releases, make arrange conferences, and then we keep making noise and talking about, oh, we have to stop all sexual violence. For the International Women's Day, we were all there on Twitter, on social media, and we're on the streets, we're all saying stop sexual violence against women. So it was I think this Uwa case and Barakat and the surge in the rape, I think that also had an effect, in the sense that I believe that our sensitizations and then releasing hotlines for people to call has also indicated to the society that there are people who are willing to fight for your rights. There are people who are willing to come out there and condemn every form of sexual violence, whether rape, whether, you know, in any form that it comes, you know, gender-based violence. So I was happy that on Monday, yes, on Monday, on Friday, sorry, Friday, that was the same day I was supposed to be on air. We went, yes, in the early hours of the morning, we did a protest all the way to the office of the Inspector General of Police, and then we had outlined what we're demanding some new changes, especially the domestication of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. We said every state in Nigeria should domesticate that act, because that act has redefined what rape is. It's now different for what rape had been under our criminal codes and our penal codes. So now this app is saying that a woman can be a rapist, a man can be a rapist. Wow. And then you don't have to have the private part penetration to commit rape. We have even said if you insert anything into the mouth of somebody, it is rape. If you insert, you know, it's a very stringent provision which we are looking at. You know, every state should domesticate so that the law enforcement agents like the police can, you know, institute criminal action against anybody who is found wanting. And so when we had outlined all these things and we have presented it before the IGP, we had the PRO for the police coming up and saying, oh yes, they are on this issue, they're also working on it. In the past, I can tell you, they've come out like that. The PRO has come out to make statements and all. But I was shocked yesterday, which is a good shock, when I saw that the police has released a particular guideline against sexual-based violence, you know, against any gender-based violence. And then they are telling you that there has to be a gender-based the gender desk in every police station must be functional, must be efficient, and they must report. You know, now it means that the efforts we are putting out there is making a difference. Now, we are not saying that we're going to be leaping immediately, because Rome wasn't built in a day, anyways. But we are happy that at least there's enough. How will I put it? We have been able to shake some foundations, especially for the police, because the police has, in one way or the other, has enabled rape and sexual-based violence and domestic violence. And why do I say that? Why we've seen situations where people come to the police and report their cases, and the police is encouraging them to settle out of court and telling them, oh, this is just an issue, minor issue that you can take care of. You know, they have done that in the past. But from what I've been hearing, which I heard even today, is that, oh, we are changed. This is a new police. And so we want to see that police go into action. And then, of course, today, also, I saw a picture from the deliberations at the House of Representatives of the National Assembly, and I'm seeing a placard reading, "Say no to rape," and that is also a plus. It means that we are raising awareness, and you know, it's having effect. And so if any member of the public is watching the deliberations at the National Assembly and sees such a thing, they know that, okay, everybody is working towards eradicating this particular scourge. And I believe that can be done.
Let me come into that. I'm so happy about the developments, and I want to tell everyone who's listening, please continue to share, bring everybody in. Dr. Badru, I'm glad you are listening. You know, I mean, you can give us some insight about some of the effects of some of these things you are discussing. IBK is right. If a woman is in front of you and she's not dressed in a certain way, or she's dressed provocatively, eat suya and drink Tandy Guarana. IBK, you are showing your age for remembering Tandy Guarana. I don't blame you. But this is what we're talking about, like the attitudes in our society that enable some of the things that we are fighting. And for those who just joining me, my guest is Barrister Mojirayo. She's somebody who is in the middle of the fight. And like I was trying to tell you something about yesterday, on Friday when I was calling to get her on the show, she was at the police station. So I got to listen in on some of the conversations. They were calling her, they were looking for her. She was trying to get on the phone with me, and they were telling her, Madam, we are ready for you. So she was in the middle of that fight we are talking about. And it's like, you know, I want to say something right now. I want to thank you for being here. You see, someone like you helped me kind of figure out not to give up on Nigeria. And I'll say that like this. There have been times where some of us here, you know, we are not as much in touch. So we only see sound bites, we only see little pieces. And last year for me, there were a few things that happened that made me give up. I was in the position of saying, no, I wanted to just stop trying, stop talking about Nigeria, stop trying to fix, you know, issues, stop trying to have conversations about what can we do. I even joined organizations. We mobilized some things on ground in Nigeria. We sent money to some groups. You know, we did a few things, but I lost hope last year, I'll be honest. I lost hope for Nigeria, for myself. I'm not asking anyone else to do so. But when this thing came up, I remember I called our mutual friend, Laulu Olabi, shout out to Laulu. And I said, look, I need somebody who knows about, you know, the fight for gender advocacy in Nigeria, for these rape victims. I need somebody who can speak on this thing better than I can from over here. And it was so amazing that he didn't think twice. He said, I know someone, let me call her, let me find out if she's available. And so I want to thank you for the work. And I want to use that to encourage all my listeners that my people, Nigeria, people are working in Nigeria, people are working, people are fighting for the right thing. So let's join the fight. Let's not pull back. It means that, you know, there's hope for that country. There's hope for us. I want to tie it into something we are dealing with here too. Online here in America, we have people who are going around talking about how, you know, the racism problem is not as big as we are making it. And, you know, you listen to that and if it's infuriating. Because it's one thing for you to see the discriminations, and for a group of people to be telling you what you are seeing is a mirage. They want to make you feel like, you know, you are making it up. And then, you know, like you said, if you go to a police station to report a rape case and you get there and they are telling you, why don't you guys settle it? Settle what with whom? You know, someone has been violated, and in most cases, there's a power dynamic, if I'm not overstepping in that sense. Yeah. You know, the person who has been raped usually is in a position where they have to balance this issue. If I report, or if I push this case, or if I decide that I want to press charges, well, put aside the hurdles of actually, like you said, getting the police to actually do any work on that issue. But what consequences does that person face in our kind of a society in Nigeria? Hey, what's going on? Chizaram, Opong Manu, thank you so much. Hello. So we're talking about this issue of, you know, this enabling environment that let people get away with rape, with violence, with racism, with all the things that we are seeing. And so if you have someone who has been a victim of a rape, but he or she is in an environment that is telling them that reporting the rape is going to be of a worse consequence than the rape itself. So now everybody's staying in their homes, having been victimized and unable to tell a single soul. And like you said, it's a good thing to have some of these laws changing. Because again, I will never get over the idea that any man or any person will be online. It's another thing for people to have these things in their minds. You know, we have some thoughts in our minds that we pray to God to remove because we know that they are bad thoughts and we don't even want them. So that's why we go for deliverance. But for someone to have a thought in their mind when you hear the story of young girls being raped, old women being raped, or like the case of Uwa, raped and killed in a church while she's studying as a 100-level student, or Barakat, you know, even of the shooting of Tina. And
Yes.
if anything else comes to your mind aside from the care of those people and that empathy, like, wow, why should this happen? And that care, then if you're one of those people who is starting to think about, well, what was she wearing? Why were they there? My guy, you have to be arrested too. If possible, we should arrest you too. Because
Exactly.
there's a good chance that in a few years, I don't know, this your thought or mindset of what was she wearing might lead you also to attack somebody one day and say, well, she was wearing this thing, it was too provocative, I had no choice. Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah. And another thing, well, that I would also say that also enables this kind of how would I put it, this crime is the family. The family units. You know, we have this kind of knitted family unit whereby we try to keep everything private, and that if there's anything like something going wrong in the family, we want to shield our own. You know, when it comes to a crime like rape, if people are not talking up and they're within a family, it becomes an issue. I've seen a case where an aunt beat up a niece because she had alleged that the aunt's husband had raped her, and then she kept beating and said, no, don't talk about my husband like that. And then you see, when we start having such circumstance, we are not only killing the child that has gone through this experience, we are allowing the rapist to still go ahead and still do it to some other person. And you know, those are the kind of enabling environments that we face in this country. For instance, I had posted a video recently of somebody who claims to be a family member to a 3-year-old and was giving a 3-year-old a French kiss. Now you were kissing the 3-year-old and kissing and biting her lower lips, and you know, things that, you know, every woman dreams that a man is giving to, and they are giving it to a 3-year-old. And then when this guy was arrested by the police in Lagos, his family were like, oh no, it's just an armless something that and I'm like, excuse me, who is that girl's father or mother? You should be carrying a gun, and then, oh, you know, you know, and then you are still telling me that, oh, they are cousins or their family, their brother. It's just a no, it's just an armless something. Oh no, it is not armless. You don't have that right to
Yeah,
be carrying my 3-year-old
let me
and
tell you,
kissing my 3-year-old.
let me tell you, when I saw that video, you know, I said, you know, where is thunder when you need it?
Exactly.
If you could,
Exactly. I wish it was in the days where we used to believe in Amadioha, and then he's just striking it, and then pim, the guy
because
is erased.
if you can customize a particular thunder to locate, because
Exactly.
then that's what it goes back to what I'm saying. This man must have thought that it's okay not only to do that, but to have it recorded and to have it, you know,
And post it on
posted.
Twitter. You know, it's
I'll tell you
crazy.
something. This is what shocks me. Oh. What shocks me is the blatant, you know, evil thoughts have always existed. You know, the Bible says that the heart of man is desperately wicked. Who can know it? But this thing, this era, this trend of being comfortable enough to say things like that or show things like that. I mean, the man online that was saying something about, oh yeah, what is rape? That you know he has assaulted many women, and I'm saying to myself, like, what kind of friends do you have that cannot tell you, guy, are you mad? My guy, shut the camera. What's wrong with you? Why is there nobody around to say no? It will never be okay.
Yes.
For you to violate a woman.
No, it just means that his friends too are enablers and probably are also offenders themselves. If you actually watch that video when the guy was boasting and saying he has assaulted, you know, so they were laughing. The people taking the record of the video, they were laughing. They were like, you know, this thing is rape, or, you know, they were laughing, and then they are making you're making it look as if it is nothing, and that a woman is a property or a girl is a property, or for instance, a boy that has been sodomized, for instance, that is nothing. You know, we've had situations like that, and I must tell you, one of the agencies that have been working, even though I would really like them to do more of investigation, is the NAPTIP. You know, they've been doing a lot when it comes to rape and sexual violence against children and women and all, and they also provide shelters. You know, and that's one of the things that we are hoping that government can work on. You know, in Nigeria, if you are being raped, you are still the one that has to be funding the police to go and investigate your case. That is how crazy it is. So if government is funding all this properly, and they're funding and making sure that once you make a complaint, the police takes it up immediately, and they
Yeah.
give them sufficient funds to go ahead and investigate. Of course, that takes it away. But you're telling me that the person who had gone through the experience should also be paying for it, and then some people cannot even afford it because the poverty level is it doesn't be.
Well, I wanted to touch on that. I wanted to touch on that from what you said. One of the stories I heard in Uwa's case. First of all, let me just acknowledge some of my guests, people online chiming in on what you've been talking about. Chichi, what's up, sis? Thank you for being here. Chichi is one of those people that joined me last year. We were really putting organizations together to mobilize in Nigeria and tell people, hey, let's vote right, let's do this. So I know she's very passionate about what's going on over there. And Chichi just chimes in. She was reacting to what you were describing. What you put on the video the other day, that the atrocities are unbelievable. And she was also talking about, said she's happy that the light is being shed on these matters. Young women are going through a lot in Nigeria, including at the hands of family members in the home. And that's one of the things you just touched on. And I think that one of the reasons why I wanted to do this show about enablement is that because we are fighting these battles on more than one level, on a couple of layers. Now, the battle itself, to stop rape, to stop violence, to make sure that, women are treated properly, men are treated properly. That's on one level. The second discussion on how the society views these issues, which in itself affects how things are dealt with. And I put that information because one of the things that happened, I'm sure you might have seen it, over here in America, going back to what we're dealing with right now with the racial situation, with the racism situation. Many people have seen that video of the man in Buffalo, the old man, the 75-year-old in Buffalo, where the police officers pushed him down and his head hit the pavement and he started bleeding. And he found himself in critical condition, even though they said he was okay. And when I went back to watch the video, one of the things that shocked me, because my first question is always, where is the humanity? Where is the empathy? Where is the part of the person that says, hey, yeah, we used to have that growing up. That's one of those phrases that always resonates. When you hear a story about somebody going through something horrible, hey, yeah, hey, is she okay? You react like that first. And I wonder in this generation where that has gone. Maybe because we are inundated now with so much evil online that we are losing, like you said, we are getting desensitized. So in other words, for you to catch my attention now, not only do you have to show me a picture of blood or dead bodies, you have to just show me something more gruesome, because ordinary pain and ordinary hurt is no longer enough to ginger my sympathy. And when I was looking at this video, I went back and looked at the video. Not only was the old man pushed down, and not only did most of the officers continue moving ahead as if nothing had happened. I have not noticed this before. I had not noticed this before. They had to go, and one of the officers literally had that moment I'm talking about. Later, let me go and watch this video again of the man in Buffalo, the old man. One of the officers had that moment I'm talking about, where he wanted to bend down. It's like he forgot to be wicked for a minute. His cruelty button went off for a minute. This officer, they had given them the order to go out and show them Pepe. He forgot to show Pepe in 1 minute. He turned around. He was about to assist the fallen old man. Immediately, the other officer next to him tapped him on the shoulder and pulled him up, and basically, stopped him from helping the man. You see, that's another level of wickedness. That kind of cruelty is elite level cruelty. It's award winning. For that kind of cruelty, you deserve to be recognized worldwide, because at the point where somebody is actually having a human moment and is about to go and help this person, you turn around and you say, no, don't help him. And that's why I talk about the environment, the enablement, because the atrocity has been committed. This man has been pushed down, he has been violated. But then there was a chance to remedy, there was a chance to redeem the moment. And even that chance was blocked by somebody saying, why are you trying to help him up? And I bring it back to the situation in Nigeria, and I say to myself, because of the challenges that you said, someone has just been assaulted, just been raped. Now, I don't know how far it is true, but I saw online where some said that the case with Uwa, that when they went to the police, that the police had requested a mobilization fee before they even commenced the case. Now, based on my understanding of how things work in Nigeria, even from when I was there last, I'm not surprised to hear something like that, because something like that has happened to me too. But I was just hoping in my mind that it's a lie. That, you know, in the case of a rape of somebody that got killed, that you are still asking for mobilization fee. Like, what do you want that father to do when he has come to report the rape and the death of his daughter? If you're a police officer, whether or not you have your own child, if you have a sister, you have a mother, where is that thing that makes you say, oh my goodness, we will find the person that did this, instead of you saying, well, how much will you drop? Talk to me about that particular aspect of that culture.
I also mentioned it to the police actually today. That was one of the things I said. I said I have had a case where a widow had approached me and told me that her husband was killed in Sokoto, and is from Imo State, and then coming to me, and then you are making a petition to the first CID in Abuja, and then when you get there, they're telling you this is a widow with one child. Her husband, who had been the breadwinner for so long, was just killed. And then you are telling the family members to mobilize you to go to Sokoto so that you can be able to go and do your investigation, proper investigation from there. I know. And I'm not talking of small money. I'm talking of huge money that was paid, that I was privy to, and they pay this money for them to go and do their job. And I'm like, this is how it is in Nigeria. You are the victim, and then you become another victim in the hands of your government. And you know, and then you become a double victim, if not triple victim, because you still have to go through the public if they're not responding appropriately. You know, I believe that with all these stories we are talking about, some people are woke, some people are not. A lot of people are not still on board. So that's why you can see somebody come online and saying that, oh, please, what was she wearing? She deserved it or something, you know. And the federal government has a lot to do now. The federal government has to make funds available and because if you're talking to the policemen, this is exactly what they say. They say that the federal government has to give. You can't tell me that they earn very little, and that out of what they earn, they should now be the ones to use their funds to go and, you know, carry out this thing. That is what they have said. And it's sad, because this is one of the things that we are asking the government, that, oh, government, please fund the police, Nigerian police, fund them enough to be able to carry out the duties of their office without, you know, making it stressful on the victim and victimizing the victim all over again. You know, because you don't, and then of course people lose faith when that's the circumstance. You've heard that somebody was asked that to pay to go and investigate their matter. The other person doesn't want to come up to say, oh, this has happened to me. And then the person keeps living with that crime, living with that psychological trauma all the days of their lives, and they can't come out because they don't believe in the government itself. And so when the police was asking, why is it that people just have this basic knowledge of us and they don't like us? You met somebody that has offended you in the police. You come to me and you're having that attitude with me. I said, because we have gone through the same experiences when we meet a lot of your officers. It's not that it is, you know, one person that has offended us and then we made our conclusions. We are talking of different scenarios where we have met with different officers from the Nigerian police, and we have been able to base this, you know, this reaction. For instance, in April last year, I don't know if you have heard about the Abuja raids, whereby women were picked up in clubs, and they just enter the club. Every woman there, they pick you up and then throw you in the bus, and they're like, you're a prostitute. A woman was picked up, even though she had come there with her husband had gone to use the restroom, and they had to put them through a lot of crazy, you know, dehumanization. How would I put it? Asking the man, what is your proof to say that you're married to this girl? And then he's like, oh, she's my wife, until he brought out this. It was wallet, showing them the picture, and he's like, she's my wife. And then they started insulting them. Prostitutes, what are you doing in the bar at night? And, you know, this happened in April, and we are still in court over that, because we have sued the Nigerian police and Nigerian government on that. I know when things like this, and then state actors getting you behind bars and then putting you in a dehumanizing situation in cells that are not, you know, that they're not even fit for my dogs. Really.
Yes. I was thinking about that when you were talking about, you know, this impunity. And one of the comments I have here from my doctor here says, a society that sees women as objects or any lower form of human permits such actions. He said it's all tied together. which why there's a little or no punishment for these people, including the authorities. See, they, including the authorities, see women as things to relieve urges. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted you to come on it, because this is what you do. This is the fight you go into every day. Because part of the things you are doing is to change this perspective and narrative, of the female in our society. It should be valued as much, if not more, than the male. And we're in a reverse situation where everything is tied to that patriarchal concern. Because
exactly,
if women are seen, continue to be seen as just being in existence for the pleasure, for the use, for the convenience of their male counterparts, it will be hard to convince all the men to understand that something like violating a woman should be something that should make all of us upset. Even the fact that you have a sister, you have a mother. I use that so many times. I said, but I see that even that now, like you have just told us, unfortunately, there are cases in which a lot of the rapes we're talking about are within families. So clearly, some men don't see a distinction in family members when they are ready to violate or abuse or misuse women. So I want you to react to that, but I also want to tie in something for you before I release you for tonight, which is how has the response been? Because I see some of the rallies and I see a lot of people come up for the rallies. So I know that there's a group of people who are concerned about this issue. How's the response been from people? And then the second part of that, before I let you go, what can those of us, for instance, who are abroad or elsewhere, may not be able to come to the rally in Abuja or Lagos, what are some things we can do, not only to fight the current fight in terms of changing legislation, changing our politics, affecting law enforcement reactions to things like rape and violence against women and against all victims of sexual violence, and also things we can do to affect the general perception, this enabling environment, this environment that enables this problem. So just throw that in for us. And before I come back to you, once again, to all my guests, thank you for being here. Everyone here, Tunde, I see you. Yeah, I know they got security for the man, Martin. Even after they shoved him, they had to secure him. My guest is here, and she's been telling us so much about what's happening in Nigeria and the fight to protect women against violence and even all victims of sexual assault and sexual violence. And she's been giving us some good news about some changes in the police department, some changes in the legislation, in the legislative branch, and we are looking for solutions here. And so, like I said, I'm going to go back to Barrister Mojirayo. Please talk to us about what you're doing, the response you're getting, and what can be done by those of us, some of us here who are just watching everything going on.
If you had watched the protest, you would have seen, I don't know, there was one video I posted on Instagram where I was opportune to see a lady break down terribly, crying. You can't really say if she had gone through that or she knew someone who had gone through that. But I was happy that a lot of women could come out and could bring up their voices against this scourge, and there was something that you must have heard in the protest. It was like, woman person when no fee votes, no fee do sex. That was a reminder to our government, because this is the way Nigerian legal system is, right? We have accepted the English legal system, we have accepted the Islamic law, we have accepted the custom, native law and custom. And so we have these three regimes, or four, sorry, trying to work together. And then under one regime, which is the English law, it's saying that the age of majority, that's the age where you can say you're an adult, is 18 years. But now go back to your constitution, where your constitution, the Nigerian constitution, says that any person, any girl who is married is a woman. So now your constitution is saying that if I'm 14 years old and I am married, I am a woman, meaning that automatically I've become an adult. And so if you have a constitution that has said that, unless that is amended, you will keep having situations where people will continue, especially the elites now, they will continue to have child brides, for instance, and then continue to have 17-year-olds as their wives. The one that had 14-year-olds and was in the house, I think was the seventh senate or thereabouts, and they will continue to have those things. And then you have people who tell you that, oh, you've paid dowry. If you pay dowry, the woman is your property. Meanwhile, we have had judicial pronouncements that said that a woman is not a chattel, but these laws are operating side by side.
So the conflicts
Now,
are there.
yes, there's conflict, and then you if you step over this, it becomes that, oh, this is intolerance. This is like you're not allowing me to practice my religion, for instance. There's nowhere, from what I've heard, and some Islamic scholars coming up, they said there's no way it is said that a man cannot marry a minor, because Aisha was married to the Prophet, and she was 14 thereabout. They would justify that. Now, meanwhile, the English law is saying you have to be 18 to do sex. So you see, when you have situations like this, all you have to just pray is that your National Assembly, your legislatures will actually see a reason to amend that particular section of the Constitution. Now, that's where it starts. I remember that my organization, FIDA, not mine, the FIDA, where I'm now the PRO. I remember I think it was in 2015, we had been pushing for the Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill. Now, apart from the fact that the bill, the way we presented it to the House, was watered down, they removed a lot of things just to make it, to be fitting for tolerance. Apart from that, it was never passed. It was never passed today, because that particular law is telling you that every woman is entitled to equal pay with a male, a male counterpart. Meanwhile, when you're working in a law firm, for instance, your male colleague can be any more than you, and you're doing the same job. Now they will say that, oh, it's the way they have negotiated, but that is wrong. And you see, and then people keep making statements like, oh, you cannot hire a married woman. They're always having excuses. They keep saying these things. You even see people sending out employment advertisements, and they're telling you there's, you have a position here, come for that, and you must be a male. You see it there, strictly, you must be a male. And that is the society itself. So the society to change, we need to keep pushing. We need to keep raising our voices. We need people to partner with us. For instance, I also have my personal NGO called CIA,
okay,
Center for Impact Advocacy. Now, what we try to go out there, do sensitization. We try to partner with organizations. For instance, I told about the Abuja raids. I mean, it's in partner with OSIWA, whereby we are trying to fight for gender rights. We just want to keep doing this. We need people, when people, for instance, are in the US and they believe that they also believe in our cause of trying to change the society, they can come up and partner with us. We can go out there, do sensitizations. We can take up legal cases. Now we are doing strategic litigation. I'm involved in strategic litigation, just to push for that same change. We need that change. For instance, I can tell you that advocacy and strategic litigation has been effective, because it's a new thing that we are engaging, and it's been good. For instance, there was a social media bill that was raised last year. Someone like me and some other groups, like Siwa, Amnesty, we all came out, and there was a lot of advocacy. We're on air, we're just giving interviews everywhere, and before you know it, that bill was shut down. It never saw the light of day. Now we have another bill also now, which we believe that advocacy could work, and that's the NCDC bill that would be practically taking away the rights of every Nigerian to have the right to their lives to when it comes to health, And so tomorrow is the public hearing. We will also be there. That is what we do. We just keep doing that, and we just pray that people will see that. Some of us, we have decided that we are going to stay in this country. We die here. We die here. And the team will say we would give it our best so long as there is life. I also understand what you said when you said you were frustrated. There are so many times that you get frustrated. You can be in tears, but there's that driving force that keeps someone like me going. I have a 3-year-old girl. What do I want to leave behind for her? I want her to live in a country where she can stand up and say, I am a woman and I have a right to speak, I have a right to stand, you know, and that is what we want. For instance,
Wow.
if you look at the National Assembly, we have 95% of men and we have 5% of women. So there's not even a balanced representation, even in your legislature. So you get, and all these things also enables people to believe that women are second-class citizens in their country. And that is the mindset we are pushing, and we keep pushing every day to change. And we believe, you see, one of the things we have to do is we keep pressing for progress and believe that it is possible. And when we believe that it's possible, we won't get tired, and we keep, you know, we'll keep being on their neck. We'll be the pests. If we have to be how will I put it, if they have to come against after us, we would accept it, because we don't have any other place to go to. This is where we
Wow.
have fun.
Let me just say this. Let me say this. Wow, 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 wow. I wish, you know what? I'm just gonna have to bring you back sometime soon. I'm sorry. I know you're busy, but there's so much I can talk to you about, and it gives me hope when I see that, and it reignites the fire to fight and not to give up. And to everyone listening, once again, our guest has been Barrister Mojirayo OGUNLANA-NKANGA. Hope I pronounced that right. And
Yeah, you tried.
thank you, Jared. So, and she's you know, she's a general rights advocate. She's an attorney. She's the principal attorney in her firm, MON Legal Practitioners. And I mean, I got connected to her because I talked to a friend in Nigeria who said, I said, I need somebody who is in the fight, you know, for changing the country. And her name came up. He said he's going to call her right away. And she said yes. And then when I called her, she was at the police station working. I got a sense of how busy she must be. Then, of course, I went over to her page, and it's just filled with information, some heartbreaking stuff, but also some encouraging stuff about the fight. So if it's like, you know, like in the Bible, when you know, Elijah told God, you know, I'm the only prophet left here. I'm the only Baba. I'm the only one fighting for you. Everybody else don't come out. And God said, my guy, shut up. You think you're the only one? I have people who have not bowed their knees. So in other words, you have people who are fighting. If you may not know them, but they are there. And Barrister Mojirayo is one of those people. And look, I'm going to bring her back, and I'm going to, you know, just let you know that, you know, the fight is on, and we can be part of it every way we can. Let me just, Barrister, let me just give you a few comments. My sister Chichi continues to be glad that you do what you are doing. She said, well done, Mojirayo, you are such a fighter, you know, and she appreciates it. Alabi, you know, reacted to what you were talking about with the judicial system. We got, you know, 4 or 5, you know, legal frameworks, and they're supposed to, and they have differing ideas of what the age of majority is, and they're supposed to be working in the same country, and so you have a conflict. So defining, you know, what is the age of majority, and I have a personal just kind of issue more than I mean, I know a lot of people do this. The child bride thing just hurts me personally. Like I said, I did a video 2 years ago. I've never been able to wrap my head around it, because I always think about, even if there's a culture that wants to give away young children to men to marry, again, just like the issue with the rape, like the men themselves, I want to talk to guy, 45 years old, they are giving you a 9-year-old, 10-year, my guy, why are you showing up? You know, why are you going there to collect the girl? What is your issue? What is your major damage? What is your malfunction that will allow you to say you are dancing in a circle because they are giving you a 13-year-old, a 10-year-old? What are you, like, where's the thunder? Where is a good thunder? When you a fashioned thunder? When I look at that story, and then, you know, I mean, I think that's another thing I'll bring you on for, the child bride issue, because it just eats away at me when I think, and it's related to what we're saying. If women continue to be seen as objects, as, you know, appendages, then all of a sudden anything you do to them, with them, becomes more or less acceptable. And it makes no sense, because the percentage of women in our population should make us, the men, think about the fact that these are partners, and in many cases there are more of them than there are of us. You know, and then to let you know, this is not the Nigerian issue alone. Let me just be clear about that. Obviously, you know, in America here, there's the gender rights fight continues. There's a lot of stories about it. You were talking about the pay parity the other time. It's one of the things they've been fighting for here. You know, discrimination with the pay. You know, a lot of women get paid less for what their male counterparts are doing. But, you know, we can go on and on. So let me just release you once again, Barrister. Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you.
And what I'll do is I'll come back to you. We'll get information about the organizations you work with. and
Yes.
we'll just make noise about that, you know, and see what we can do. Let everybody get in there. Anything that needs donation, let's donate. Anything that needs our voices, let's get in there. So thank you so much. My best to the
Thank you.
family, to the little one, and hopefully,
Thank you.
me and you are friends now, so I can call you anytime. Please don't be afraid.
Yes, please.
Yeah,
Yes,
so,
please. No problem. No problem.
all right, thank you
We're
so
on the
much.
same. We're on the same fight.
Thank
On the
you,
same
thank you.
line.
Have a good night. Have a good rest of your night.
You too. Thank you very much.
All right,
And
thank
hi
you.
to everybody.
Yes,
Bye.
so she's greeting you. So we'll catch up with her afterwards. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. It's exactly 6 p.m. I got like 15 more minutes. Let me talk to my people. I mean, that was a powerful session. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I'm so glad my guest was able to come up today. The information we got today was another level, just deep insights. Because sometimes we talk about these things from far away. We talk about these things in abstract, and we don't have details. We don't have information what we're talking about. But when people who are in the fight, when they are talking to you, you can see what's working, what's not working, what the problem is. And today we've been talking about this environment that enables these things. Yeah, let me say what's up to my people. Alabi, what's up? Good to see you, brother. I was wondering, Alabi, now you were running late. Oh, how far? Yeah. Oh, damn. We thank God for that sister. I mean, she's somebody that I'm glad that I've known now. There's no wrapping your head around it. Such men should be castrated. Alabi, we talked about this last week. That the kind of men that will do some of these things. Look, as men, as people, we have issues. You understand what I'm saying? We have issues. Nobody's a saint here. Nobody's a saint. Let's just be honest. We are all struggling. If not for Jesus. You think it's easy? You see a beautiful woman, man, as a human being, just biologically, just because of how you are designed. There is a reaction. There's a cognition that, oh my goodness, there's a member of the opposite sex in my vicinity. And this member of the opposite sex has been fearfully and wonderfully made. And as such, I cannot pretend that I do not see or I do not observe this wonderfully made creature. The next step of that is to thank God for her life and move on. You see, that's the thing. You thank God for her and you move on, because in that moment you remind yourself that she's not yours. Or if you are blessed and you are being led, you step up to her and you say, oh, sister, God bless you. You are looking good. I had a dream and you were my wife. What do you say? Coffee? Chapman? and that way you can get to a point where you might end up being the one for her. And then there's consent and everybody's happy and you're married. All that is possible. But to skip all of that and to for anyone to justify violating or assaulting a woman, it's really the most base animalistic aspect of a man. And it really means that at that point, the basic level of evolution has not been achieved. Your inability to I mean, even animals have mating calls. They have wooing ceremonies. You woo the other person you are interested in. I mean, that's where it's supposed to be. When you cross that line, when you cross that boundary and you violate that person against their will by force, then you deserve that the title of human being be removed as an appellation for you, because you have behaved in the one way that human beings are not supposed to behave with each other, especially in an organized society, even a disorganized one. You understand what I'm saying? So when you think about it, like we said it last week, if you are married, even if you are married, bros, if you are married and your wife is saying, I'm not feeling it tonight, guy, eat pounded yam. Order suya. Go to get suya. I feel that suya can solve a lot of problems in Nigeria. Even tribalism and I feel like suya can bring, okay, experiment. Take suya, bring it into the midst of different tribes of Nigerians. I guarantee you they might be beefing, they might not like each other, but for that moment, they can't even, the words of hatred cannot flow when you are chewing suya, especially when the onion is ripe, just fresh onion, and the pepper has been well done, just good pepper, especially if you serve it inside newspaper, as it was intended to be served. You see, when you have those moments, you find out that we are all the same. I have had moments where I'm fighting with somebody, but they bring suya, and I forget that we are fighting, because the suya is bigger than the issue, yeah, BCOE. Thank you, yeah. Thank you. I'm glad the barrister came up. She's really involved in this thing. Yes, sir. Manuel Obisakin, thank you so much. Change has to come from the individual first and then to us as a whole. I agree with you. And that's why when you see people who are pushing, I mean, like I said, when I called her, she was at the police station. I could overhear in the background conversations about, the victims that she was there to help and represent. And she was telling the police officers, wow, they haven't done this, they haven't done that. And you know what? It's encouraging. It's encouraging to see people are using their gifts and they're fighting. So yeah, Alabi, yeah. Oh my, go and take cold shower. If you like, take the shower. If you like, just do whatever you need to do to make sure you don't violate other people. And let me tie that into what we're talking about with what's going on in America, bro. Let me tell you something. This movement that we are witnessing right now, it makes it difficult for those of us who say no to violence or violent protests or riots. When we try to make that statement now, we have to find a way to explain it. Because now that they burn everything down, yeah, and they have set fire to the entire country. All of a sudden, reform is showing up. All of a sudden, they are defunding police departments. All of a sudden, they are changing the training schedule. All of a sudden, they are changing everything. So is it the fire that they set to the building that caused the change? And that's why it's difficult. You can't separate it. Now, I've always said that the protester is not the rioter in many cases. When a protester begins to riot, they have moved the affiliation from protesting to rioting. That person is now a rioter. The protester is the one who is calmly telling you and chanting that there must be a change. The rioter is the one who said, you know what, I've given up on talking to you. I am now going to burn everything down. Maybe you will hear me there. Now, all these two people are different from the looter. The looter just says, oh my boy, this is my chance to get the 65-inch TV. Guy, you want phone? Do you want a phone? Do you want the iPhone? Let's go get it. That's a looter. That guy is an armed robber. That guy will likely rob no matter what. Now, I've seen videos talking about how some people are robbing because they are poor and they don't have a choice and they are looting. Like, I don't buy that, because this is my thing. You're not just looting when you're just robbing or stealing. You're looting in the middle of something that's bigger than your issue. I'm sorry. When you loot in the middle of a riot, or I mean, a riot is still weird. When you're looting in the middle of a protest, you are changing the conversation to you. Act selfish. That is very self-centered. Because now, not only are you trying to alleviate your own issue, you are taking the conversation away from the thing that we are all pushing for. That's not forgivable to me. That's not forgivable. I can almost make some excuse for the rioter and say the rioter is basically saying, why are you all begging them to make change? Why are you all asking them for reform? They've never listened to us. They'll never listen. We've been protesting every year. They keep killing us. So guess what? There's no law. There's no order. Let's burn the whole thing down. Now, for someone like that, you can have a conversation and say, bros, it hasn't reached like that. This protest is having some impact. At least they are arresting the people. You can still talk to that person. But I can at least have that conversation, because I know that person is saying, forget about protesting, forget about conversations. It's time to burn it down. When it is all burnt down, then we can sit down over the ashes, and then we will restate what we were stating before quietly. Now that we have burnt it down, we'll ask them again, are you hearing me? So I can see the mindset of someone who says, no, there's no point talking. There's no point talking. But the guy who's looting, I can't understand. Yeah, Tunde says the looting and we're in the middle of recession. Tunde, that won't do it. That won't do it. And that's why with the looting now, you have to think about the fact that now, if you're the owner of the small business that they are looting in the middle of a recession, how does that help you? How does that help everyone you hire? You know what I'm saying? Every store you loot, every store you burn down is just another set of jobs that are gone. Because even if the pandemic is done and the riot ends, oh, guess what? These buildings are no longer offices. They're no longer stores. So, I mean, and I'll be honest with you, if you can find me a percentage of looters who are looting because of the recession, who are looting because they are suffering, who are looting because they are struggling, I might have a different conversation, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure, because today, if people were looting grocery stores and looting bread and looting gari and looting, palm oil, it's a different conversation. Like, these guys are stealing food. But the 65-inch TV, and the guy could not even carry it because it was too big. Because when you're looting, you need to be fast. You know, when you're looting the Apple store, you're looting the iPhone and the iPads and stuff like that. I don't see too much as hunger. You know, that's just you. That means you've been plotting, you've been waiting. Like when you saw the riot start to say, oh boy, they're rioting. Hey, let them pass that place where the Apple store is. Almost, where's my mask? I'm going. Hey, today's going to be a good day. I'm telling you, man, there's a lot of these guys that they can't tell you, oh, I'm looting because there's a recession. Nah, bruh. These guys looted when the economy was good and there was a riot. They don't care, man. Most, I believe, if you find me that one looter who looted out of hunger, then I can have that conversation. Even with that guy, I'm like, brass. I mean, you looted out of hunger, but what are you looting? What are you taking from Target? You're not taking from the freezer. And if you do take from the freezer, you're also taking a few cameras. So don't tell me that. You know, you say, yeah. Yeah, Tunde says it doesn't make it right, but it makes sense. Millions are experiencing joblessness for the first time. You're right, Tunde, but again, you're creating more joblessness when you loot a store that was employing a few people. I mean, you're not, people who are looting are not thinking about, they're not thinking of, I don't think they're thinking about all that. I don't think they're thinking about all that, because the looting is not what's going to solve the joblessness, you know? And trust me, again, if we get into the numbers of the looters, don't be surprised if many of them have jobs. Many of the looters will have jobs, and that's why, you know, when the video came out, what did we find? The looters are of all stripes, races, colors, creeds, nationalities, career levels, financial. Looters are just, they're opportunists. They're opportunists in chaos. The protesters are protesting the bad economy when they go out and protest that in Zuccotti Park. The protesters are protesting the wage gap. The protesters are fighting, and they're going to elections, and they're voting in candidates that they believe will do better on these issues. Doesn't have to be the best candidate. I know, Tunde, because I know you're going to get on me with that. But among the choices they have, people are protesting by voting. You know, it takes longer, but it does have one of the most long-lasting impacts when you have the right people in the office. That's what I'm saying. So, I mean, there's no convincing me about looters. I know there's a lot to say about how bad the economy is, and we can justify it, but show me that particular dude who is looting because his conscience is telling him he has to loot so that things can change for the unemployed. I'm sorry, I don't buy that, Joy. I believe that for the rioter. I believe that for the protester. I don't believe that for the looter. And if you see the joy on the faces of some of the looters when they are carrying away the prize they have won by force, you can't tell me they're doing this for any cause. And so, for me, motive is important. If I'm joining a protest and a riot because of the opportunity to get something from the Apple store, I will not count that person as part of the conversation of those who are doing this to protest something. No, they're just looters. They're just opportunists. And like I said, look, more power to the police if they catch them, and many of them have been caught. I don't care. I don't care what your rationalization is for looting. At the end of the day, you're victimizing someone. It's a commercial victimization. Doesn't make it better. Doesn't make it good. There are small business owners, and I said it, even the large business owners. Everybody talks about, oh, they're just looting Target, they're looting Apple. It's not a big deal. Like, what is this same Target that they were shopping at? This same Target that members of their family work at? This is the same Target in that neighborhood that people have been able to go in and get what they need. We don't talk about these corporations as if the only thing that we know about them is that they're evil. That's not realistic. That's not practical. Because at the end of the day, they are complex things. They're complex things. We know that, you know, there's a lot of evil agenda that are anti-people, but in terms of the operation, people work there. That's all I'm trying to tell you. Human beings work at Target. The wage is low. They should pay them more. They should treat them more humanely. And these are fights that we are having. These are protests that we are doing. These are changes we're advocating for. So we can't justify breaking that store and looting it or setting it on fire. Like you said, Sunday, we can't. It's not something to justify it. And I don't even understand it. I don't put those people in the same category when I'm talking about protests and rioting. I don't. If you're a looter, my guy, congratulations, you're a thief. You have done well for yourself. Your chosen career is doing well. This is a good opportunity for you. It's a good season for a thief. But don't you try to pretend like you're some kind of Robin Hood. because I know you're taking that joint to your crib and you're clearing space for the new TV you just got, you know, and your neighbor saw you walking with a mask and with the sweating with the new iPhone box in your pocket under your armpit. You're a thief, but well done. You have taken advantage of the chaotic environment to be a thief. Just own it, though. Don't try to put yourself in the same room with protesters and even rioters who are rioting because they're upset at the system. That's a different conversation. You, Mr. Luther, are in a different category. You are a thief. And if there was no riot, maybe you would have found ways to steal anyway. Or maybe you have been stealing before. And this riot just creates the atmosphere and the opportunity to practice your craft in a stronger way. Congrats to you. I hope they catch you. And if they send you to jail, you know what? Everything that happens to you, I will go back to that moment like, you didn't have to loot. Honestly, you were in your house watching the protest, and then you decided, yeah, is that the Apple store? Yeah, is that Target? I've always wanted to get sneakers. That's on you, bro. Let me get one of these in there. Yeah, BC, you say Apple says they're tracking all looted devices. Listen, man, I knew they would do that. They probably shutting all of them off anyway. I try to make it useful, but trust me, boys will use it for parts if they have to. I know that. You know, for Lucas, the looting was deliberate and can be related with hunger and can't be related with hunger or recession. They're just taking opportunity of a broad daylight to steal in the middle of reasonable protest. For looking, exactly, that's my point. Sister Fuluka, you are right. That's my point. I'm sorry, I cannot talk about a looter as though he's one of the victims. Nah, bruh. I'm telling you right now. I mean, I make a difference between. I don't know this for a fact, but I believe that many of these looters, when you talk to them, you know, so when you talk to these looters, man, it's not about no fight for justice or equality or, you know, or employment, you know, parity. Guys are just seeing opportunity to get stuff they want. It's that simple, bro. We can be over here talking about, well, the environment that makes that, you know, possible is one where people are struggling. You know, that's fine, but doesn't change the fact that these guys are thieves. You know, you say you're not losing tears over Walmart to Target. I hear you, but I'm telling you who's losing tears over the Walmart to Target. The guys who work there. The guys who work there, the unemployment pays more than minimum wage. Only for now, Tunde. Trump is ending that joint in July, and then what? I mean, your store is burnt down. And even if your boss gets insurance, he may not rebuild that store. Or if he's going to rebuild, he may not rebuild it today. So there are consequences. There are real life effects to these things. You know, when you loot a store, you know, you gotta know what you're doing. Most of these corporations are claiming they support the movement, but they've been silent and taking advantage of the black people since ever. NFL, for example, crucified Cap, and all of a sudden they put out statements they should have paid attention. Please, I know. Look, the corporate agenda has never changed. All right, and you know that's something we're gonna keep fighting. But my point has just been that we can't use that to excuse, you know, bad behavior on the side of looters. Again, I have a nuanced feeling about riots. Riots are the grown up as a riot is the angry brother of the protester. The protest is the calm one trying to change things. The riot is the one that's saying, why are you negotiating? Riot is the angry brother of the protest. Why are you negotiating? They're not listening to us. Let's burn a few things down. And so I can see that that's anger. That's frustration. That's a system that has failed people and they're tired of it. That I get. The looting, forget that joint. These guys are armed robbers. And, you know, especially if they get a taste for this looting and they see that they furnish their house with stolen goods, why would they stop? Now they've enjoyed the new life. They've been able to get everything they need in life without buying it. Just wait for the next riot and then fill up your coffers. So, I mean, I'm not feeling those guys. Yeah, you know, unemployment pays more than minimum wage right now. That's true. But at the same time, you know, unemployment is going to run out. And don't forget, not everybody's getting unemployment. Unemployment works on a certain arrangement where you've been working before and you racked up some hours of unemployment. And then, if you get fired from your job, you may not qualify for unemployment. So unemployment is not a guarantee. So I understand the people being frustrated and hungry, but don't tell me that you're looting the iPhone from the Apple store because of systemic racism. Bro, just calm down with that joint. Enjoy your iPhone until you're arrested. But don't tell me you're doing it because you want to protest. Nah, the people who are protesting, you know where to go to join them. All right. So let me get this in. BCOE says, I laugh in Japanese. Unemployment pays more than minimum wage. You're right. This is America. Tunde, it seems to me that some of the looters are sending a message. They are protesting capitalism and internalization of racism. Tunde, you are the one protesting capitalization and capitalism and internationalization with racism and globalized racism and capital. Tunde, that's you. You are the conscious brother who is thinking about it. I'm telling you that the looters are not doing any seminars on why they are looting. BCOE said, but the riots are in most cases caused by the police who raid peaceful protests with tear gas, so our clown in chief can molest a vibe. Now that's a solid point. Every video that we have seen has shown how infiltrators have come into the protests and turned them into riots to justify the brutality that they now use to quell the riots. I mean, their game has been so exposed. I talked about the one where the police officers I think it was in Baltimore, they were in an alley sharing bricks to each other. They brought up bricks from the police car and they were sharing it to go and throw and give to people to throw. Now, when the bricks were thrown, they said, yay, riot, violent riot. Now they start shooting tear gas. The video of the one of the men who started breaking the glass at one of the stores, and another man followed him and said, this guy is covered from head to toe, trench coat, covered up with the mask all the way up to his face, hoodie, and he's the one smashing windows. Bro, who are you? And the guy started scurrying away to his car. Bro, who are you? Who you be, guy? I don't see you for a year before. Who you be? The guy was running away. Later found out it was a police officer who went on, he just primed the pump. Just to get the party started. Broke a few windows. And all of a sudden, they are breaking windows. Like, bruh. So, and that's why I said, all those people, that's why I said I can look at the rioter and say, they're calling you a rioter, but you have a basis and a reason in rioting. But my preference is no violence. Because at the end of the day, even the gains we have gotten and the results we have gotten, we can always look at that and say, well, you say no violence, but violence worked. I'm promising you, sometimes anything you get by violence, you may not be able to keep by violence. And that's why I say the changes that we look for are political changes, changes in meeting with the established authority, having them really come out. You saw police officers taking a knee along with some protesters. I don't take those things for granted. I believe that in every group, there's always a group that, doesn't agree with any of the bad things that group is doing. But like I posted this morning, the bad cops are making it really hard for us to see the good cops behind them, because there's a lot of the bad ones, and it's getting more difficult by the day. When you watch that video on Buffalo, they pushed the man down, he fell to the ground. Like I said a few minutes ago, it's bad enough. Like, it goes back to my point when I was a podcast guest, is the layers of outrage, bro. The outrage is in layers, like a cake, like a 4-tier cake. The actual occurrence of police brutality, the reaction of the law enforcement officers in the vicinity to that brutality, the reaction of the law enforcement of executives to that reaction and to the brutality, and then the reaction of the society at large to the law enforcement executives' reaction to the law enforcement reaction to the actual action of the brutality. All those layers right now are horrible to look at. That's why when the video came out of the man that was 75-year-old, you had the offices, they have the executive office of the police department talking about the man fell. Then the video was out. It was like, no, he was pushed. Can you see the same thing we're seeing? They're like, oh yeah, that's bad. And then you have some of the officers quitting that unit to protest the punishment of the officers that were actually involved in the pushing. Bro, go back and look at that video. Go back and look at that video. One of the most appalling things I missed the first time. When I saw, I can't believe I missed that. When the man fell and they were pushed, the officers were going ahead. One of the officers had a moment of humanity. One of the officers had a moment. He looked down, he almost picked the guy up. And then the other officer pulled him up like, what are you doing? My friend, face forward, we don't care. That's when I knew that this is so systemic. This was an order. They were told to do this. They were ordered to go outside. That's why they were upset. It doesn't justify them, but it explains it. That's why the officers were upset in the squad, because they're being punished by the police department for something the police department told them to do. Now their problem is, my issue with them is when the police department tells you to go out there and show force, you should still use your humanity and discretion to decide when to be forceful and when to say, I just pushed an old man down, he hit his head and I see blood. I don't want to be responsible for the death of this old man, so I'm gonna pick him up. You see, that's you using the humanity part of you to counteract the zombie part of you that's been ordered to go out there and just unleash mayhem on protesters. In Buffalo, bro. It's not like New York City like that. It's like all you have to do. The man dude was standing in front of you, man. He didn't have a crew. Old man did not have a crew with him. What in the world required you to do that? You could have sidestepped him. Bruh. Come on, huh? So, I mean, for me, they don't get away with that. And that's what I'm saying. Like, there is no excuse. You know? Yeah, oh yeah, they call him the AutoZone umbrella man. Yeah, with an umbrella to cover his face, starting a riot and running away so they can blame people who came later and started looting. Again, looters are thieves. They should be arrested. And, you know, that's on you, bro. Don't tell me you are looting for consciousness sake. Don't tell me you're a conscious looter. Now you're a thief. And congrats. I understand listen, I understand the desire. When you're watching the riots, like, I can get a TV. You can furnish your house from these riots. I'm telling you. Ew, I'm allowed up. He said you can furnish your house from these riots. What am I trying to say? If you watch the riots and you see the path where they're going, if they pass by the stores you know that have what you need, then you join the riots at that spot. You can, if you look IKEA, bro, it's a gold mine. Because with IKEA, many of the things you need are packaged in such a way that all you need to do is to get the boxes into your car or just run home with the box. And you can go there as many times as possible before the riot ends. So for your avid looter, for your experienced looter, this is Christmas. But don't you tell me you're doing it for consciousness sake, bro. That's where I get mad at you. Don't you tell me you're rioting because of the systemic, nah, bro, you're a thief. So, you know, do you though? Do you? You won't be the first one to steal stuff, you know. But bro, don't tell me. Hey, I'm so upset with how America is treating black people. I'm gonna go steal an iPhone like that. Yeah, nah. We know ourselves, Amara. You on your own. Are you kidding me? Yeah, listen. Yeah. So BC, so I'm going to be proud of. So BC said, I do not support defunding the police. I believe police needs more training, especially less force. I mean, police training gets about 60 hours of training, but to be a barber, you need 1,500 hours of training. I know. For police, they train you less. For a barber, yeah, you have to get all these licenses and training. And you know what? Once the police quit, it's been peaceful here in Buffalo. Sunday, you're not good. Sunday said, once those guys quit that force, all of a sudden there's peace, confirming that we never wanted or needed them in the first place. The heavy police presence resulted in an attempt to burn Buffalo City Hall. And listen, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, if I don't know how the police departments are responding to protests about police brutality with more brutality. What do you think would happen to the protests? They will grow into riots. I don't know what logic you have. Hey, Pastor Franklin, thank you so much for being here. It's true. We are talking about these things, man. We're talking about how we need to push for these things so we can look. There's something that pushes me in these matters, and that is for those of us who have kids and who have kids. Our children have to grow up in this world. So whatever we can do to at least make the road a little better for them, we need to do it. I don't want my kids having to. I don't want my kids having to deal with this if I can avoid it. If we can avoid it. I don't want the kids having to deal with this. I want the kids to grow up in a better world, you know? And so empathy must be restored. Even I hate that we have to restore it by force. I don't like anything being done by force or violence. But unfortunately, when your opponent is telling you the only language you'll listen to is a little bit of a push, I don't know what choice you have. Because we're talking about life and death. We're talking about life and death. Alabi said they're also creating negative narratives around the protests. They are the only. It's true. I mean, look, these are nuanced conversations. And I said before, you can have more than one thought in your mind at a time. Okay, you can know that looting is bad, but you can understand why the looter uses this riot as an opportunity to loot. You can also understand that the protests are justified and they need to happen because the systemic racism that has led to the death and mistreatment of Black men and women in this country at an alarming rate requires addressing. And so you can look at it and say, these are necessary protests. You can look at the riots and say, if I protest peacefully and you tear gas me, I might hide Dr. Jerko, and Mr. Hyde might come out because you're just telling me that my peaceful protest is not working. So if I have another gear, a little more violent gear with a Molotov cocktail, I just might call that guy. You know, we all have multiple personalities and we try to suppress the evil ones. So don't make me call the part of me that told me before I came out for the protest that they're not going to listen to you unless you burn something down. And I told that part of me, shut up. I'm peaceful. I'm not violent. We're gonna speak with our words. We're gonna fight with our words. And that other part of me is telling me, I'm telling you, man, they're gonna tear gas you. Watch it. Don't say I don't warn you. And then we get to the protest and y'all tear gassing us and y'all slashing our tires. Then the part of me that's like, I told you we should burn it down. That part comes, I'm like, yeah, do you, bro? And then he set fire to the whole thing. What am I trying to say? Don't tase me, bro. Don't tase me. You know, if you don't start none, there won't be none. Don't tear gas me, man. You know, shout out to my man, comedian Femi. He posted earlier about the video where they tear gassed a group of protesters, but the wind blew the tear gas back to the police officers. And he said, won't he do it? And that's the most fun thing I've seen all day. When the wind is blowing the tear gas back on the police. In Nigeria, we call that back to sender. Every enemy, no weapon formed against us will prosper. And some Christians were in that crowd. They were chanting Psalm 23 and Psalm 24. and the wind blew the tear gas back to the people who said the tear gas. Isn't that a sign for you to know that you're on the wrong side of history? Forget this thing. Yeah, Babalola, what's going on? Yeah, reallocate the funds to training again, as well as the development of testing program every few years to make sure that all the officers are competent on the law which they're paid to enforce, as well as actual physical fitness exam administered yearly. It doesn't make any sense that they can sit and eat donuts and collect checks. First of all, Babalola, I will not have you insult donuts, all right? Anybody can sit and eat donuts, all right, Babalola? I mean, that's personal to me. Donuts are a universal language, and I believe that if we allow our officers to eat more donuts, they're probably more peaceful. I feel like, you know, this quarantine may have made it difficult for donuts to be available to our officers. And so when these riots came out, they were frustrated already. And so, you know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, you earn the donuts, you know, by being a police officer in the neighborhood. You know what I mean? That's what I almost joined the police force when I saw that. Like I say, well, they getting donuts, you know? But then when I heard about the physical training, I changed my mind and said, I'll buy the donuts. You know what I mean? But yeah, but on the point of defunding the police, guys, I mean, before I go, let's talk about that. I don't believe in defunding the police either. I don't believe in the defunding, and not just the concept. I get the concept, the idea. Like in Minnesota, they're like, you know, yeah, BC is true now. You know, donuts are just essential and sacred. Let's just leave them where they are. It's not the donuts. There are no bad donuts. Only bad people eating donuts. No, but defunding the police doesn't make sense for me as a slogan, because you're not giving room for the fact that, you know, no one's really asking for no law enforcement. We're asking for fair law enforcement. So if fairness is where we're getting, we're not looking to abolish law enforcement as a concept. Because let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about, now y'all check me on this. Check me on this. Do y'all really think? Listen, yeah, all things in moderation, except, you know, sugar donuts. Sugar donuts are in a different class of donuts. They are not gimmicky. They are who they are, with sprinkles on them, and you can shake the sugar off. So, Babalola, I disagree with you. Sugar donuts do not need to be in moderation. They're their own thing. Getting back to the issue though, you can't, if you talk about defunding the police, you know, first of all, not to mention you're giving the talking point to the other side to say you are for anarchy and you are for chaos. And the truth is, when you say defund the police, you don't have the opportunity to explain. It's a slogan: ban the police, disband the police, defund the police, but you have no room to explain what you mean. And so, you know, I have that question: what do you mean? If you defund or ban or disband the police, what takes its place? And let me tell you something. Someday I know they should not be more funded than healthcare or education, but trust me, that's not the conversation we're having. We're talking about defunding them, not reallocating their funds within themselves. Not if you're defunding them, you got to explain that to me. You got to explain that to me. Are you firing half of the force? So if my neighborhood is in need of police presence, and I understand the dichotomy, we don't want too many police because they end up shooting us. I get that, but I don't know if the solution is to say no police, because listen, cops don't buy bullets. All this can be true, but at the same time, the solution might not be to defund the police. It might just be to reallocate the funds that go to the police, reallocate it within the force to more helpful programs. Again, training. And I know we've said, oh, they've been doing that and it hasn't made a difference. You don't stop, because you don't know what you're preventing by retraining. Let's focus on hiring. Okay, now you're talking, Tunde. The military grade weapons we might need to get rid of, because even when terrorists attack, that's not what we use to bring them down. But here's the problem with that. If you defund the police, now y'all check me on this. Now check me on this. If you disband the police, what plans do you have to keep the militia from moving in? Oh, y'all ain't hearing me. The day you disband the police force in your community, what plans do you have to keep the neighborhood watch, the militia, from rising up? I'm not talking about crime that will come in and criminals might think that, oh, there's no police now, so yeah, we can do now. That's a different discussion. You telling me that J&M, who have been stockpiling weapons, talking to you about the day of anarchy, they're gonna find out that you done disbanded the police, and they're not gonna come out guns blazing? They're coming out guns blazing right now. Now, what? The moment you disband the police, what's his name and them? They ready. They've been waiting on this day, because they become the police. All I'm saying is you better have an organized force, because all of a sudden, now think about this, man. All of a sudden, if you pull back the military to a point where you're defunding them, or the military is out there, but the police force, you might just be getting these people closer to that Second Amendment clause. A well-funded militia being necessary, the right to bear arms will not be, they become that well-funded militia. And they've been practicing in the woods for years, bro. So be careful with this conversation about disbanding and the defunding and the canceling the police, bro. I get it. I get it. If the police are becoming more of a danger than a protector or help, then I get the conversation. But there are a few steps in between, the police being dangerous and canceling the police. There are a few things in the middle we could talk about. Because I'm telling you right now, Tunde, we could have a conversation about more black gun owners. That's my problem. You're disbanding the police tomorrow morning. We can't all get guns. They got barriers to keep us from getting guns. How many of us, African-American community, unfortunately, are dealing with records, police records, criminal records? You'll find out quickly that there are a lot of barriers to getting guns for many of us in our community. And those that have them, most of them have them illegally. And now you just give them more room to come out and say, now we're going to seize illegal guns and go break down the doors. Whereas the people I'm talking about, they've been had guns. They got 5 guns in one house. So Tunde, they're not weak barriers, bro. I'm telling you right now, this is not how we're gonna do it. Bro, you may not believe what I'm trying to tell you. If it comes down to who has more guns, bro, I'm telling you, I'm not even talking about the number of us who don't even want to carry guns. Many of us didn't grow up with a family tradition of hunting deer. You know what I mean? So it's not the biggest conversation. Hey, we should get guns too. Many of us don't want to touch it. But it's a game of numbers. And so what I'm saying is, that's a dangerous game, bro. It's a game of numbers. We're still a minority today. We're still a minority. We're not in Nigeria, bro, where everybody's black. And even over there, they can't figure it out. Come on. That's all I'm saying. Hey, BC, what's going on? BC, I'm more or less waited for you, man. I waited for you. But you must go and watch the video because you would enjoy today's episode. My guest, Barrister Mojirayo, was on fire. She was on point. I'm glad I brought her in. She covered so many things about what's happening with rape and violence against women. The governors need to strike a balance between police and the citizenry because they are meant to protect the people, not to kill them based on color. How many whites are brutally killed? The blacks are viewed as potential criminal, even when they are honest. Damilola, you are exactly right. This is the problem. And that's why when people talk about, hey, why are you rioting? My guy, I just shut up because if you can't see why I'm rioting, I have no conversation with you. I have no conversation with you. I mean, the governors need to strike that balance. Some smart governors are doing it already. Some smart police departments started kneeling down, you know, with the protesters before the thing got heavy. That's wisdom. That's wisdom. You know what I mean? That's de-escalation, which is apparently a word that many police departments and officers don't like. Because I never understood that. It doesn't have to be kill, kill, kill. There's got to be de-escalation methods. You know, but on this conversation of you know what we do in terms of defunding the police, I'm not for it, because just like I attacked Donald Trump on some of the things he does, because not just because I think he's President Lysol has some competency issues, and I continue to question his intellect. But one of the reasons I really challenge some of the things he does, because I just feel like he hasn't thought it through. You know, and I don't want the movement to make the same mistake. You're getting change. You're getting legislative change. You're getting political change. You'll have an opportunity to change so many officers soon, including the president. I mean, we're in a moment where the whole world is behind this momentum. We need to get the things we can get done. But if we take that momentum and use it and try to overreach with it, we could undermine everything we've achieved. And I say we because I'm part of this fight. We could undermine everything. Because if you start talking about disbanding the police, then even some of those of us who are allies in this fight, those of us who are part of this fight, we start having that double mind, like, ooh, calm down. Do I want y'all to cancel the police? No. I thought we were doing this to make sure they change. I thought we were doing this to reform this, to shock the system, make it change who's in charge. I want more DAs of color. I want more DAs who understand the plight of our community, white or black, as long as the person understands. I want more governors who get it. I want more mayors who get it. I want this mayor to get it and change his stance on A, B, C, D. I want the police force to change. I want more people of color to make it to the force. I want the training in the police department to change. I don't mind reallocating the funds in the police department, spending more on de-escalation. There have been suggestions that the police should be made up of counselors so that not every situation will require a police officer to show up with a gun and a badge. Some cases just requires someone to help, you know. But I'm defunding and banning and disbanding the police. That's the conversation I don't think we have time to explain. That's the problem. The slogan is what's going to get played over and over again. You know, President Lysol Bunker Boy is already talking about that. Like, you know, he's saying, on my watch, I'm going to make sure you're safe. Nobody's going to disband your police. So President Lysol Bunker Boy gets it. And I'm always upset when people do things to give President Bunker Boy an opportunity to rehabilitate his poll numbers. I hate it because I just feel like on his own, President Bunker Boy will reveal to the world how much of a buffoon he is. And maybe he'll lose the next election. I'm not one of those who I'm not convinced yet. Until the day comes, I'm going to be sitting here just hoping that the people do the right thing and get him out. But I know that's my think, that's my wish, right? But President Bunker Boy is out here not talking about, oh, they want to get rid of the police so they can loot. I know that's dumb, but it does resonate. So I don't want us to play into his hand. We're getting some good reforms out of this. Let's keep winning. Don't snatch defeat from the jaws of victory talking about cancel the police. I don't see the police force is made up of a good number of people who's made up of people with families whose families depend on that force. Some police families have lost their father, sister, mother, brother to protecting the country, protecting the neighborhood. I mean, so their memories are fresh. Police officers who put themselves, on the line to save us. You're going to disband all of them? They don't matter? Oh, and what you're going to replace that with? Have you thought about that? How are you recruiting your new force? Where are they coming from? Out of space? I'm just saying, think it through. And we don't need to do that right now. Let's get these W's, these wins, and run with them and build on it. And then the next election, let's kill it. Let's kill it. The next election, bro, all my black people, all our allies, everybody of good conscience, the next election's coming up in your neighborhood, kill it. Make the change. No politician is perfect. Some of them might even be lying to us right now, but got to change the ones we know are bad. So, you know what I mean? Oh, that's all I'm saying. But don't be out here talking about disbanding the police and you can't tell me what you're going to replace it with. Because I know who's ready to replace the police. I know. Oh, you think the police are racist now? Ooh. Let what's his name and his boys come in here. The full militia. You know? Oh, man. Ladies and gentlemen, you are awesome. You're amazing. It's been amazing. I still need to get better at keeping this thing under an hour. Sunday, I'm not saying that law enforcement needs more money. That conversation I'm okay with, Sunday. I'm okay with that. But that's not what people are talking about right now. That's not what's bubbling to the surface. People are talking about disbanding them. And people are talking about defunding the police, not in terms of not giving them more money. People are talking about just cutting the funds right now. You know that automatically means layoffs in the police department, which if you could promise me that you're only laying off the bad cops, I'm all for it, but you can't do that. If you lay off of the police department, you're just going to cut all kinds of departments. And I mean, who's to say that after the layoff, all you're left with is the cream of the crop of racism? You mess around and lay off the few ones that are trying to make things better. Because you're defunding the police. Now you got the closet racist is the only one left. And the chief of police is about to kill y'all. I'm just saying think it through. And we may not need to go there right now. You know? And that's why my argument about the kente cloth was an issue today too. Like there's some things we don't need to do. BC said, lay off the ones with the most complaints about brutality. Here's the problem. They're the chiefs of police. BC said, disbanding them is not going to happen. We all know that. The narrative has to be clear. Police reform. And BC, thank you so much. That's all I'm saying. Let the narrative be clear. Let the narrative, don't muddle it up with the disbanding. Reform it, change it, completely transform. A discretionary review board is needed. Yeah, they have a civilian review board, the CRB, for the police department. They need to do something about that, find out what's working, what's not, change it entirely. These are the things I think we should fight for. And that's why I think any statement talking about getting rid of the police departments itself, I think it's going to undermine that conversation. Yeah, the CRB is existing. It's not working. We need to fire them, elect new ones. Blah, blah, blah. You are on point, my brother. You're on fire right now. These are the things I'm talking about. BC, these are the things I'm talking about. You know, we have a momentum right now to make changes that are possible, that are practical. Let's do that. Let's do that. A clean slate. I like it. But don't talk about disbanding or canceling the police forces. I'm telling you, I promise you, the day you do that, I may be wrong, but something in my gut, the day you enact that and you dissolve an existing police force, whew, the militia comes out of the woods. They're already out there in the crowd, tear gassing people, mowing people down. They can't wait. They can't wait. And trust me, President Lysol Bunker Boy, for any jurisdiction that gets rid of the police, President Bunker Boy is going to give an all-out code green, like to his boys, like, your Second Amendment rights are now fully empowered. Go out and make me proud. President Bunker Boy is going to unleash his boys. Don't play to their hands. Don't play to their hands, bro. All right? Let's reform the police. Let's get our W's. Let's change who's in charge. Now they listen. Now they hear us. Now they listening. So let's just finish it off. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna let y'all go because I've been told I need to keep this BCOA. I messed up again. I kept it over much over 1 hour. But the first hour was dedicated to my guest because she wasn't able to make it last week, so I had to give that up, and I'm glad I did. Please share the video, you guys. Apart from like just sharing the video for the feed, the information we got from her was really good. And those of us, if you're one of those people who are here wishing that, hoping that Nigeria, is at least being catered to by people who care, she was perfect in terms of an example of somebody who is in the fight in Abuja, fighting for gender rights, fighting to protect women from rape, fighting for reform in the police department, fighting for reform in the legislative department. She's a lawyer. She's taking cases herself. She's helping victims to get their lives back. She's involved in donations and organizations that fight for the rights of women and all victims, male or female. So these are the people that we need to connect with. And so let me just finish it out. Let me finish it out with BC's statement. Do you know how frustrating it is to do weeks or months of investigation, substantiate the allegations, to make recommendations that the police be held accountable, and the police chief goes against your recommendation? Civilian review boards need enforcement powers. That's true. These are the areas where we can reform. Give them some more teeth. Like Babalola said, give them some more teeth. So I want that conversation to be the one that rises to the top. I'm telling you right now, this defund the police thing or disband the police thing, it's changing the narrative. It's changing the focus. I don't think it's practical. There's no one I've seen who's given me a very satisfactory description of what happens the day after you disband your police force. Whatever force you want to raise in place of the police force is just another police force. So that's why I don't think the solution is just disbanding them. Right, but that's something that's up for conversation. The kente cloth situation, I wanted to have a talk about that because we had a whole thing on my page about that today. All I'm saying is, don't change a winning team, man. Don't pull out gimmicks when your real stuff is working. Democrats on the Hill, they're passing good legislation right now, and that's why I'm upset with people who talk about, oh, bro, then why I can't have that argument with most people, because do you really want to know? Because one of the things you're seeing right now is that the police departments where Attorney General, the Attorney General under Barack Obama was actually working with police departments to make changes, making them more accountable. They had to do certain reports. They had to talk about changes they're going to make in their system. All those things were in place. There were agreements. And Jeff Sessions came in under Trump, at Trump's direction, and he yanked all those agreements. He yanked all those processes. And he unleashed the police forces in all these states and jurisdictions back and said, as Attorney General, he basically said, don't worry about that stuff that Obama was talking about. Y'all do whatever you want. We're not going to question you when you rough handle people. In any case, Donald Trump is all for, not, being a little rough with suspects. So, I mean, it makes a difference. And now y'all out here talking about Obama did nothing. It doesn't matter that you're saying that, because you're just not ready to go read and find out what he did. Those of us who were following it while he was there, we know what was being done. They were changing the system from within. DA's offices were having independent counsel laws where if something happened with a police officer, another DA would come in as of law to be the one to handle it. They wouldn't have to debate and say, oh, should a DA take it in this jurisdiction? Like in the case of Ahmaud Arbery, we had DAs who were friends with the defendants. We had DAs who had already pronounced the defendants they said, oh, it was self-defense. That all of that wouldn't happen if you have those police shootings or cases, any case that has conflicts within the DA's office. If you have a standing law that says, oh, if you have this kind of conflict, someone else is coming in to take a look at it, you have a better shot of a fairer process. But y'all want to be out here talking about there's no difference, who's in charge. Like, that's on you. That's on you for not trying to figure out what the difference is. And I don't have that argument as much because I know sometimes it's just coming from this place of just a pox on all their houses. And that's justified too. I don't trust any politician per se, but I'm not going to deny specific steps that have been taken under one administration and use that to say all administrations are the same. There were changes coming up before this dude took over, and we all know it. If nothing else, you know that there's a difference in the tone. When the protests broke out, the way this president talked about it and the way the other president talked about it has a lot to do and has a lot of impact on how law enforcement reacted, has a lot of impact on whether or not the protests were escalated into riots or whether or not they were de-escalated and people believe there was real change coming. It matters. It matters. So don't come out here telling me, oh, Obama did nothing. There's a whole list of things that we could talk about, but most of the people that say that, they don't want to know. They don't want to hear it. So that's why I usually don't engage, because it's not a conversation that people want. You give them, I've done it before, you give them the facts, legislation, changes, policy changes, internal memos that were passed by the DOJ under Barack Obama and Eric Holder. And they the changes that were made. They had departmental agreements with the DOJ to make changes, but many of them didn't even bother. When Jeff Sessions came over, he just tore it all up. And so now even with the militarization of the police, there were agreements about funding. And the anti-terrorist unit of most police departments were going to be segregated and monitored separately so that their weapons would not be available for regular police departments to use for regular citizens. Those were all kinds of the agreements that were done under Eric Holder and Barack Obama. And Donald Trump and Jeff Sessions came and tore it all up. And now you want to sit here and try to tell me, oh, there's no difference, they're all the same. Nah, it makes a difference. Who the Attorney General is, it makes a difference, who your DA is, it makes a difference who your governor, your mayor, chief of police. It makes a difference who your police union boss is. Those guys are responsible for a lot of the resistance that we're seeing. It makes a difference, who your local government council chairman is. So that I'm just tired of people making it seem like the politics of it doesn't matter. That's exactly the basis for which change is going to come. And that's because people are going to be able to look at it and say, these people care about our community. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy JFK. Please share this video. Do me a solid, man. I'm trying to get this thing off the ground. I still don't know how to break into the YouTube thing yet, but I'm sharing this on YouTube also. So please share it. And again, as always, please send me tips. Shout out to my man BCOye this week. He got me on top of a lot of things in terms of my graphics, and I'm seeing the benefits already. Thank you. Please let me know feedback, whatever I could do differently, whatever I need to change, and topics that you think might interest a lot of people. You guys are awesome, man. That's your boy, JFK. I'm afraid to play music because of YouTube. I hear they flag people anyhow, so I just end up just. Let me calm down. Yeah, man, that's what's up. Love y'all, man. Let's talk. Yeah, Babalola podcast. Why are you doing this to me, Lola? Why are you doing this? You're like the 5th person this week with the podcast, man. I'm afraid. What if nobody listens? Talk to me about that after this. Let me know if you know how I can get it so that it'll be something that people. I mean, intro music for sure. Today, yeah. The truth is, I got my own album, but I don't know if YouTube is gonna give me a way to tell them this my song before I play it. They might just flag it, and I'll be like, it's my stuff. Okay, Babala said music is okay, just play less than 30 seconds. But Babala, the beat doesn't drop in the first 30 seconds though. But I'm gonna try and find songs where I can cut to the beat and 30 seconds of music. Yeah. I like that. Thank you for the input, fellas. Lola, man, you might be the one to push me over on the podcast. We might end up doing it. I'm gonna reach out. My people, thank you. It's your boy JFK. Please chop on it, yeah. Only in moderation. Don't drink Lysol unless prescribed by a doctor. Shout out to everybody. And if President Lysol Bunker Boy is watching, bro, you're something else, man. But do you? Don't stop. Don't stop. Trump, keep doing what you do, man. Appreciate you. Hey, listen. It'll be like that sometimes, Hesman. I listen, but just keep. All right, you know what? I said you got me. That's what I'm doing with this. You guys are making it possible. When I see you guys, I feel like, all right, my peoples is in here. So, but we're gonna do it. All right, y'all. I'm gonna see y'all. The next one is on Friday. Y'all send me topics, what you think we need to talk about, and Babalala, you might be on here next, man. BC, you might be on here next. Alabi, you are definitely coming on soon. I don't know when, and BC Matthews, we need to talk, man. Lawyer to lawyer, and to get you on here. And my people, I'm gonna try to do something where we have more than 3 or 4 people on the conversation. I know my platform can accommodate that. So y'all let me know if you're interested in. I want to have a group discussion, probably the next one. Please, guys, inbox me. Let me know. I can take at least 5 more people on with me. Inbox me right now. Let me know if you want to be on here live with me, man. We need to talk about it. Yeah, man. Blah, blah, blah. Thank you so much, man. I love the support. Appreciate it. And y'all let me know what's going on. But next one, you know, I think we're gonna do that the next time. Y'all coming in. You know, five or six of y'all, we're gonna make noise up in here, man. Just, you know, we're gonna be like MSNBC or CNN talking about, let me tell you, no, you don't understand it. We're gonna do that because that joint is fun, especially among friends. It's your boy, man. We're gonna talk later. Yeah, Femi Badmus, at least you are here. Femi Badmus, the winner of our last sweepstakes, is on here. Femi, hope you are spending the Amazon gift card in the right places. I hope you are not squandering it, Mr. Badmus. I trust you. I trust your judgment. You know. But Femi, I know you're gonna love this video, so please go watch it. Go rewatch it. I know you're gonna love this because my guest was on here today, the one that couldn't make it last week, and she really delivered. I'm glad. All right, Yala B, my man. I appreciate you, brother. I don't take it for granted, man. You guys always say show me love. I appreciate you. Like I said, next week I'm gonna try to get some of you on here. It's gonna be rowdy. Yeah, Babala, it's gonna be rowdy. And I think I'm afraid to bring Tunde because Tunde out here always trying to make me always hating on Biden, always trying to hate on Biden. Even though I think I need his voice, it's gonna make it interesting and fun. But Tunde, I won't see. But Tunde, you've been on already, but I think I need you to have that fight in the studio with everybody else. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy. See y'all later. Peace. One.